Okay, let's dive in. Think about your home for a second. You know that tiny little thing, maybe a faucet that drips just a bit.
Yeah, or that faint musty smell you haven't quite placed yet.
Exactly. Or that little stain on the ceiling you figure, it's nothing, I'll get to it later.
Right, and that delay, that specific choice to ignore the small stuff, that's really what our source material is digging into today. We're looking at the true costs, the hidden ones, the ones that really snowball when you pretend those little leaks and no big deal.
So our mission here is to pull out the key takeaways from these sources, like what do actual examples show us about the damage?
And what's the psychology? Why do we put these things off?
Yeah, and those hidden costs, the ones that really catch homeowners off guard. We want to show you how maybe a $20 fix can explode into a $2,000 disaster.
And crucially, what you can actually do to stop that from happening.
Okay, so where do these leaks usually start? According to the sources, it's not always dramatic, right? Not a big pipe burst immediately.
Not usually, no. Often it's, way more subtle, like a toilet valve that just doesn't quite seal properly.
Or like a fitting under the sink that's a bit loose, dripping super slowly.
Precisely, one drop every few minutes. Or maybe a seal around a window or the bathtub. That's just starting to fail. Things that are really easy to miss.
Or just rationalize away, like, oh, it's probably fine.
Exactly, and that connects right to the psychology the sources mention. It's classic procrastination, isn't it?
Yeah, and something called present bias.
Right. That little drip today feels tiny compared to this, abstract idea of big damage way down the line.
Plus, actually fixing it seems like a hassle right now. Maybe intimidating.
So you just put it off. Prioritize the immediate feeling over, future problems.
Okay, but how fast does that tiny leak turn into real trouble? The sources talk about surprising damage.
It's faster than you'd think. That constant drip, even if it's small, over weeks or months, it does ramp up your water bill for sure. We're talking maybe hundreds of extra gallons a week, potentially. But beyond the bill, that steady moisture is quietly doing serious damage. It's rotting the subfloor. It's messing up the drywall.
And creating the perfect spot for mold.
Exactly. And mold is a huge one the sources flag. It's not just about the cost of cleaning it up.
Right. There are health risks, too. The sources mentioned that.
Serious ones. Those mold spores get airborne, and they can trigger allergies, asthma, real respiratory problems for anyone in the house.
So what starts as a tiny water spot becomes potentially a health hazard. You might not even connect back to the leak at first.
Yeah, it's insidious. And another critical point from the sources is insurance.
Oh, right. How does that play in?
Well, most policies cover sudden damage, like if a pipe bursts suddenly. But gradual damage from a slow leak you knew about or should have known about and didn't fix.
They might deny the claim.
They very well might, leaving you holding the entire bill for repairs.
And that really brings that example into focus, doesn't it? The $20 fix turning into a $2,000 nightmare.
Absolutely. That $20, that's maybe a new washer, a bit of sealant, simple stuff.
Right, but the $2,000.
That's ripping out moldy drywall, replacing warped cabinets, fixing ruined floors. Plus, potentially professional mold remediation, which isn't cheap, all because the easy early fix got delayed.
Okay, so it sounds bad, but the sources also offer hope, right? Catching these things early.
Definitely. And it's often not that complicated, just routinely checking pipes you can see under sinks, behind toilets for any dampness, stains, or drips.
Looking up at ceilings, checking walls for discoloration, listening for drips you can't explain.
Yeah, even checking your water meter. Turn everything off, then go look at the meter. If it's still ticking up, you've likely got a leak somewhere.
So, simple checks, maybe professional inspections now and then, that's the best defense.
That's what the sources suggest. Be proactive.
So, boiling it all down, the core message from this material seems pretty clear. Don't ignore leaks, no matter how small they seem.
Absolutely. Putting it off doesn't save money. It just delays a small cost now for potentially massive costs later. Major repairs, water damage, mold, health issues, structural problems, high bills.
That idea of a $20 fix preventing a $2,000 problem or even more, that really sticks.
It's the key takeaway. Acting fast on any sign of moisture, doing those routine checks, it stops that whole cascade of bad stuff.
Okay, so to wrap up, here's a final thought, kind of pulling from the sources. Think about why we put off those small home repairs. What if tackling that tendency, like fixing that tiny drip immediately?
What if that simple act is actually a powerful way to protect yourself, not just your pipes, but, the structure of your house, your family's health?
In your bank account down the road. Something to think about.
Don't wait until a drip turns into disaster. Call AA Quick at 314-429-7131 and get it fixed fast. Mention this podcast and save $20 today. Fast, fair, no nonsense. Tell them Jim sent you.